If the difference in the second trimester is 14 days, and if the difference in the third trimester is 21. So madali lang siya tandaan. 7, 14, 21. You compute, if the ultrasound, for example, comes to you the LMP, age of gestation by LMP is 20 weeks. And then ultrasound examination revealed that the total age is 22. Do you consider this compatible or not? LMP age, computation nyo is 20. Nagpa-ultrasound kayo, bumalik ang patient, the ultrasound is 22 weeks. Is it considered normal? Yes. Okay, it is considered normal. And then you have to explain the patient na expected date of delivery will change. Everything will change except that you need to explain that the difference of the ultrasound in the second trimester is 14 days. So, ibig sabihin kung 22 ka ngayon by ultrasound, 20 ka by ultrasound compatible. Hindi yung mag-a-adjust kayo lahat. Expected date of delivery is confirmed using your TBS. So you have to explain it to your patient. A TBS scan, first trimester, EDD is your EDD for the entire pregnancy. Hindi yung dadating yung patient with 5 phonologic reports, hindi ka niya alam, doktora, every time ako nagpapakita, iba na akong ang panganganak, date ng panganganak ko, kailan naman ako panganganak? Okay? So it's the obligation of the physician, huwag yung iba ko sa phonology. It's because, oh, we can do that, but it's your obligation. Pasyenting nyo yan. We're just here to guide and help you. Kung hindi talaga, then we can indicate. But it's quite insulting as a clinician if you're not able to address a simple problem. Kailan ako makakita? Okay? So that is 7, 14, and 21. So the second and third trimester, there are 3 types of examination. You request for the standard, and that is where we do the necessary measurements. And approximately, for example, if your patient do not have a first trimester ultrasound, hindi mo rin alam ang LMP, putting height is questionable. The earliest that you can request for ultrasound, and that is appropriate, more or less, the age of gestation based on scan, is at least at 18 weeks. Hindi kung kailan nyo lang nag-isip. Para pagbalik sa'yo, yung taleno kayo. Okay? So it should be at 18 weeks. Now, for specialized type of ultrasound, then that is your congenital anomaly scan. Then the other one is limited, where if you want to check amniotic fluid, the placenta, and or findings that were noted that needs to be re-evaluated at 28 weeks. Because there are structures at 24 weeks that are considered large, but because of the cut-off that was given, now at 28 weeks we advise you to repeat. For example, the cisterna magna measures more than 1 or at 0.9. But this is only 22, 23 weeks. You just have to advise you, just have to repeat. It's because at 28 weeks the cut-off is until 10 mm or 1 cm. Okay? So what are the parameters or components of the second and third trimester ultrasound? So the reason we include this one is because 2015 written exam, an image of the biparietal diameter was included in the exam, and and then the examining was asked to identify the structure. Okay, so the BPD, the question is, what is the most accurate reflection of gestational age during the second trimester? That is the BPD. Reflection lang. Okay, so you have to identify what are the parameters. The straight line from the occiput to the other occiput area, that is your fact. And then, what is this one? Yung 3 lines. Cabum, septum, penicillin. The butterfly that is inside, this one, this is your salamine of the third ventricle. Pag walang third ventricle at merong salamine, that's salamine. Okay? CSP, para madaling tandaan, ASP. CSP, ASP, fast cerebri. Okay, yun lang naman ang structures na you need to understand in doing your second trimester scan, particularly BPD. So, if what position of the head that is transthalamic view. Okay? So, kung maraming view ang nilagay doon, it's transthalamic. Kasi why? There are a lot of views, but the most, more or less, accurate aging is in a transthalamic view. Then, followed by, you have the shape of the head before you apply or push the button. For freezing, it should be cannonball or rugby. Okay? And cannonball or rugby, it's because it is affected, that's why head circumference is better than BPD because HC is not affected by changes of the head shape. If the patient is in ridge or transverse, and then malaki ang ulo or flattened ang ulo, then that is secondary to the shape. Okay? Which is brought about by malpresentation. But conditions that will affect changes in the shape like dolichocephaly or brachycephaly, meaning that is in relation to DS or Down syndrome or any aneuploidy. But make sure na ang position ng ulo ay not in bridge or in transverse view. Now the AC, the greatest variation is 2 to 3 weeks. If you will request for interval growth monitoring, then the interval growth from the previous scan should be at least 2 to 3 weeks. Although what we're teaching is it should be 2 to 4, but 2 to 3 is already possible to be able to identify the weight. So the difference in the weight per week, para alam nyo kung nag-grow ang baby, is at least 100 grams per week. If the GS is 1.1 mm per day, then the estimated fetal weight or yung weight ng baby should grow at least 100 grams per week. And then, so AC is early indicator. Ito ay paulit-ulit na question. So you should be able to answer this one. Early indicator for fetal growth restriction, and that is AC. Never maging buto, BPD, SM. Okay? It should be soft tissue or in the stomach and the intestines plus your kidney is present. Wala naman siguro kidney sa brain. Then we'll go with the FL. So FL, it correlates well with BPD. That's why when you analyze your report, huwag kayo dumiretso dun sa diagnosis. Take note, ano ang measurement ng BPD? The BPD and FL should be the same. Okay? It should be the same. Ibig sabihin because they are all bone. So kung anong measurement mo, kung 36 siya, then FL should be 36. What will be affected will be your AC. It will be dependent on the growth of the patient baby. Okay, to summarize, estimate in gestational age. If it is 1 week during the first trimester, 1 week or 7 days, then you follow ultrasound age. If it is 10 days based on biometry at 10 to 20 weeks, that is early second trimester, 10 days, but parang madali na lang 14. Okay? They will not be asking you specific dates. Hindi naman kayo fellow namin. If you're fellow yung ultrasound, lahat ng maliliit na bagay you should know because that's embryology. So, if it is in the third trimester, that is 21 days. Now, if it is fetal growth interval, kung walang sagot na 2 to 4, then it will be 2, it will be 3, or 2 to 3. Okay, but not 1 to 2 weeks. Then, another common request is amniotic fluid. So, for the amniotic fluid, if it is 24 weeks and less, then you use the SBP. If it is 25 weeks onwards, you use the amniotic fluid index. The normal in SBP is between 2 to 8 mm. If it is less than 2, then that's the only time you will see the diagnosis of oligohydramnios. If it is more than 8, that is polyhydramnios. For twins, The manner of estimating the amniotic fluid is through SDT. Kung nasaan yung separating membrane, then you have, that is the place of your caliper to measure amniotic fluid. A normal amniotic fluid based on AFIs, based on Williams, is between 8 to 24 cm. And the components of your biophysical profile, ang madalas na misconception or dilemma is a polyhydramnios part of your BPS? Yes. What is the score? 2. Oligohydramnios lang ang lalagyan nyo ng score ng 0. Walang 1 if the score is 7.8. Okay? So it is 0 or 2 for oligohydramnios. Then your BPS will be 6/8. Okay? Then we'll proceed with congenital anomaly scan. Based on Williams, it should be between 18 to 20 weeks. 18 to 20 weeks. The systematic evaluation for fetal anomaly. Next question is, if there is a congenital anomaly, sino masasabi na ito ay, for example, there is anencephaly. It is the obligation of the sonologist to disclose the problem. But, syempre, pagka-disclose mo, may sunod na ng question. That's up to that level. To explain why the patient has this abnormality, it is your obligation, clinician's obligation. But it is also the right thing to do on the part of the sonologist that before you release the patient, inform the clinician, because what the patient usually do is, naghihintay ka lang ng report, searching it already through Google. Parang hindi naman kayo magulang mag-explain anong ibig sabihin ng gastroenteritis, what causes it. Well, it is an obligation of the clinician, of the sonologist, to inform the clinician that, Doctora, your patient is diagnosed with was diagnosed with fetal anomaly. So that at your end, magpasa na kayo. Okay? Para walang gulo. Kasi what happened is, sisisihin ang ultrasound, bakit mo sinabi, natural. Because there's an abnormality. And then the most difficult part is if there is no cardiac activity. So it has been settled that those abnormal findings in the ultrasound, first disclosure is the sonology, but up to the level of the abnormality. To explain what happened, why this abnormality occurs, that's the obligation of the clinician. Another common request is that